Hello, everybody. In today's session, we're going to talk a little bit about the process that we undertake at Flow Design to get our Hertz rating package done. Random request from a client here. Um, Please provide home energy rating report. So this is a request that you're gonna see a lot for projects that we likely have completed and they didn't include Hertz rating in our services, or projects that will be coming up that we may have also not included it or had included it, but then submit them. This is gonna be required for every new home from scratch, new home, or over 1,000 square foot renovation or addition, or full gut renovation. Any full gut renovation, any over 1,000 square foot project, and new home will require the Hertz rating. We at Flow are not rendering those services, we're subbing it out. We're hiring a consulting company that charges X amount and we charge that amount plus, let's say, 20% markup. So the first thing I want people to know is the whole cycle for how this gets started, and so that you as a designer can manage the services and understand the services that are required. Everybody is very familiar here with our 4-step process. And going to the 4-step process real quick. It is important to know, when do we engage with the Hertz rater, and when do we know whether it's included or not in our services? The first thing is check the contract. If the contract with your project includes Hertz rating services, it will be under our considerations and summary of the services that we need. And it will say something like this: Hertz rating, projected, meet, inspection, and final inspection. It is a 3-step kind of process, but we are mostly focused on the projected Hertz rating package. Why? Because by the time they get to meet, inspection, and final inspection, many months have gone by, and it is just a phone call. It is just a phone call to let the owner know that, to ask the owner, hey, how is the project going? Oh yeah, we're gonna sheetrock in a week. Well, you can't yet. You have to call the Hertz rating company. Here's the information. So that's it. I'm gonna be a little bit more methodical. Everybody knows a Hertz rating is required whenever the project is more than 1,000 square foot for residential addition, full gut renovation, or new homes. Period. That's the basic service across Massachusetts. You're gonna know whether your services are included. Those services are included on your contract. When you see the contract, if it says Hertz rating, projected, meet, inspection, and final, you're going to need to engage with a Hertz rater at some point. When do you engage with the Hertz rater? In our 4-step process, at the moment in which you have a selected design option and you are pretty advanced almost with construction documents, you need to send a quick email to the Hertz rater saying, hello, such and such, such and such. Here is the package of the progress permit set or final permit set with the services that we're gonna, with the project, the scope for the project. So at about this area right here, I want you to send an email to the Hertz rater. What's the email going to say? Typical emails. Literally. The Hertz team is Herb and RJ from Energy Code Consultants is the name of the company. This is a quick email I have. We have been approved to move forward with the Hertz rating for the above mentioned property. I always put it on the header. Who is the designer? In this case, if it is like Tim Molinga is the designer in charge, and we'll be providing your basic package and envelope information so you may begin the projected Hertz rating for the project. This one has been approved to move forward. I want them to know that so that they can generate an invoice and put us on their queue. If they don't generate an invoice and put us on the queue, we're not going to be able to move forward with this. There's another email here, which is kind of like at that stage where you're like 20, 30% done with the project. So I hope this email finds you well. We are approaching the finish line with your architectural services. This is for the client. This is for the client. We have a few questions related to the required home energy rating that we're currently working on. To streamline the process, I've included a form below for your convenience. It contains a few questions we need your input on. So this is to the client. This is to the Harris Rating Company. Why? Because the Harris Rating Company is going to need some information. Let's take a look at the form real quick so that you know what information we're talking about. Okay. So checking the boxes. The Harris Rating services are included in our project? Yes. Okay. Are we, a design option has been selected? Yes. Are we beginning the process of the permit set? Yeah. Okay. This form shall be given to either the contractor in charge of the project, if you already have one, or the owner. In Massachusetts, a Harris Rating home energy rating system rating is required for certain types of projects, blah, 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 blah. They need to put this information. Project name and number. Permit number, if they already are trying to apply for a permit. Whether it's new construction, modular construction, renovation only, or addition and renovation. Total new square footage. Not the existing square footage unless it's a full gut. New square footage. Is it a full gut? Yes or no? What services you need? Typically, it's going to be just energy code compliance. That's it. Typically, it's just energy code compliance. Any certifications? Sometimes you just put minimum code requirements. Most of the time, that's what I've been doing. Heating source is important to know how they're going to be heating the house. If it is gas and oil, meaning fossil fuel, the incentives are being fade away. They're being phased out. So there's incentives that will cover the cost of the Harris Rating in our services. But it's only for electric. They're just fading it away. As of like September last year, they already faded away. So address for the incentives checks, this money is not gonna come to Flow, it's gonna come to the client. So they should put their address there. What they anticipate the timeline to be, like, when do you think you're gonna be a framing? Because the Harris Rating Company, we're gonna make a PDF out of this. We're gonna email that PDF to the Harris Rating Company. When do you think the building permit is gonna be? When the demolition is gonna be? Installation date? Those are estimates. Then you generate, as soon as you get the Alex one right here, that Julio Gutierrez got together, you're going to make a PDF out of this. Right now, I'm the one that has like authority over this one, but I will give permission to all of you. And literally, he put estimates of what he anticipated will be the case. You then are going to find the Harris Rating team. And who are they? Mr. Herb and RJ. So the email for them is herb@energycodehelp.com. And then there's also RJ. Herb and RJ will begin with the files that you send them. You're going to send them I'm going to pay the invoice for the deposit. You're going to send them that's the payment for the deposit. You're going to send them the permit set. And with the permit set and that form that I gave you, they're going to generate a Harris report. The Harris report, they need to make sure it passes. So they will be asking you questions back and forth. They're going to email you and say, okay, here's what I understand. Is the sunroom going to be heated or not heated? They're only talking about envelope. Why the wall is going to be made out of 2x4 or a 15. It is a back and forth because you cannot really finish your permit set without some of the input that they may give you. Or you may, on your permit set, say things like, refer to Harris Rating report for our values. Julio, is that what you're doing? Refer to Harris Rating report for our values. We're not even telling them there are values. We can tell them that it's a 2x6 wall because they got to frame it, but we're not telling them that. We want them to go back to the Harris Rating report. So these guys do this massing and calculate all of their envelope sizes. By the way, I made a mistake on the address. That's why I sent the photo too, because I made a mistake to the address. And they were able to do that. Then they sent me the report that I was telling you. And I want each one of you to manage this. They're going to send, this is what we really want. this certificate. That's all that we need to send to the client with our permit set at the end. We may finish the permit set and I'll probably invoice and get paid the final payment, but we will not be done with the project until we get this and send it to them, to the client. Okay? They also add some other things like the schedule and things like that. I tend to have a generic version of this where I delete the inspection costs and reinspection cost. Like I just delete it because I charge, let's say it's $250, I charge $350 and make $100 on the reinspection. These are the things that are going to come. I do want to send them this, but not with the fees. And they need to be aware that we must do a preliminary, recommended site inspection. Insulation is the mandatory one, and the final is the mandatory one. I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of the HERS rating process itself. You guys had a session with, it wasn't Andrew. Yeah, I think actually probably was Andrew. Yeah. So Andrew came here and did a whole section on that. I want you to just be aware that as part of your services as a designer, you get your define, you get your envision, you get your design, you engage the HERS rater if it is included in your services, send the preliminary package, coordinate it with them, and I want you to manage them as consultants. If they use some language that you don't understand, and that's okay, you're going to be learning it, okay? You get that package, you send it to the client, pretty straightforward. Then they apply for the permit, they'll get the permit. This is the thing that's holding this project from getting the permit. They will not, of course, in the smoke detectors, which is beyond our scope. But on this, because that's not a project from Flow, actually, that's just a random request from another client. So far, so good. Everybody kind of understands that. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And that's really it. That's really it. I want you guys to understand if the service is included at this particular time, you should be emailing the client. And with the client, if he fills out the form, emailing the HERS rating company with the permit set, progress permit set. And then it takes about 3 to 4 days for them to get it back to us. And then at that point, we want to send the full package. I want us to be able to send a full, beautiful package. I piecemeal things like the permit set of drawings, then the survey, then the HERS rating package. Because sometimes I want to collect the permit set of drawings, but I can't really finish the permit set of drawings without a finished stamp survey and a finished HERS rating. Marcos and I always debate on whether we should even ever have consultants or not because they delay us. But it is part of architecture that we manage consultants. Generally, consultants need to be managed by the architect. So unfortunately, we wish we could do away without them, but then the client's going to get a permit set that will not getting a permit and it will be kind of useless for them. They're going to have to get their own consultants. They're going to have to go through that. It's part of our job to manage the consultant and to coordinate the work. And that's really it. That's really the process. Check if the your contract says HERS rating. Now, if I didn't include it, you could ask me, hey, Darwin, it looks like this project was going to require HERS rating and I can negotiate it, which is the case recently. Lots of clients recently have added HERS rating as another separate service. And I've been billing it separately, which is amazing. I can opt to do that as an additional thing. I've been selling the services. The cost for HERS rating, if it's fossil fuel, it's higher than if it is electric, but that's for me to deal with, not for you to deal with. And I just what's my goal? My goal personally, is that you've already read the contract. You've already done your define. You've already done your envision. You've met with team to talk about design. You've met with Julio to talk about design. You have a design option. You presented the design option. It was approved. You begin your permit set, connect with HERS rater, send form to client for HERS rating information, or whether they're going to use heat pump or no heat pump, electric or non-electric, generally that stuff. Get all of that, which you already do too, also with Patrick. Connect with Patrick if there is a survey. Get that whole beautiful package together. I review the permit set. Marcos reviews the permit set. We send it to the client. We collect and we get a 5-star review. Repeat, rinse and repeat. Do it all over again. I don't want to have to call RJ and Herb. I don't want to have to be calling Patrick for the proposed survey. I don't want to have to call any of those things. Do I do it? Yeah, and I can do it. Yes, and I can help. Yes, but I want you to understand the entire process for making buildings happen from beginning to end. Then, as you scale into bigger projects, you're gonna be dealing with the spec writer. You're gonna be dealing with the mechanical engineer. You're gonna be dealing with the plumbing engineer. You're gonna be dealing with the civil engineer. You're gonna be dealing with the structural engineer. You're gonna be dealing with geotechnical engineer. It gets really convoluted. So for now, we're only dealing with survey and the Hearst rater. And that's going to equip you to grow. We want to make sure that you grow. The way to grow is now to manage yourself, manage consultants, communicate with consultants, and deliver to the clients. If there's no questions, I'm going to pause it in here so that the recording is not interrupted with the questions, and I'm going to save it. But we can then have questions right after that. Thank you very much. And let me pause that.